but he doesn't go after him right away. He waits for the right time. He's
Right.
so patient.
Right.
Like when you watch the early rounds of his fights, he's like at a world champions that are competing today at the highest level. He probably has the lowest punch count in the early rounds.
Yeah.
Because he just wait, but he also knows he's got that nuclear option that if he can crack you, most likely he's going to take you out. He's got
Right.
massive confidence in that.
Right back on. That's it. Body. Touch the body. Still hard sticks the body. Hard sticks the body.
A little bit of weight. I think Gervonta will beat him. Honestly, I think Gervonta will hurt him. I think he'll just use IQ. He'll tire him out a little bit, and you know, I think he'll land.
Joe Rogan is left stunned after hearing that Gervonta Davis knocked out a heavyweight during sparring. Rogan praises Tank's explosive power and the way he cracks opponents right in front of him without hesitation. He says Davis brings a dangerous excitement to every fight because he can end a bout at any moment. According to Rogan, that unpredictability is what makes Tank.
Like you don't know whether someone's ever going to be able to figure that out or whether or not he's just going to keep cracking people.
Yeah.
You know, so it's part of the fun of watching it. I've talked to a lot of like real boxing purists. It's like you can't rely on that style.
Right.
He's got to be busier. When he gets to the best guys, it's not going to work out. Like, well, we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see.
We'll see, because there's so many good guys inside the gym. Those who have witnessed Gervonta Davis during recent training sessions describe a version of him that seems even more dangerous than the one fans see under bright lights. Heavyweights step in, hoping to give him a challenge through strength and size. Yet, they find themselves outmatched by his speed and explosive punches. Witnesses say that even the big men cannot handle the sudden power Davis generates from such a compact frame. Right back.
Right back on. That's it. Body. Touch the body. Still hard sticks the body. Hard sticks the body. Ooh.
Oh! 30 seconds, 30 seconds.
A former sparring partner of Jake Paul has stepped up with a blunt and honest prediction that Gervonta hits far too hard, and Jake has never experienced that type of knockout power before. He explained that Jake may be confident because he has knocked out former MMA fighters and older boxers, but that confidence won't protect him from someone like Davis. According to him, when Gervonta punches, he doesn't just score, he damages. He believes Jake will quickly realize that he signed up for a level that is beyond his current experience. Many around the boxing community appreciate Jake's willingness to take risks, but this former partner insists risk has a breaking point, and Tank Davis represents that point.
Honestly, man, like every single time, you know, people said that Jake would get finished or he would lose a fight. He obviously proved everybody wrong, but I genuinely believe this time, I think that, you know, with Gervonta's boxing IQ and him having Jake come down a little bit in weight, I think Gervonta will beat him, honestly. I think Gervonta will hurt him. I think he'll just use IQ. He'll tire him out a little bit. And, you know, I think he'll land. You know, Gervonta knows how to touch his opponents. But it's interesting because when Floyd fought Logan, the size really made a big, you know, impact. And you saw Floyd struggle, you know, against a big, you know, Ohio corn-fed, you know, wrestling strong dude. And, you know, I've sparred Jake and Logan before, and, you know, they train hard.
You're picking Tank by knockout?
Look, I sparred them years ago. They're much better than when I sparred them. They're athletes. You know, they train really hard. I think they work harder than...
Joe Rogan acknowledges that Jake has helped draw younger audiences into boxing, delivering hype that many promoters fail to generate. He wonders whether Jake is actually ready to face a real fighter who is still in their prime. The reality is that Jake's best wins came against names who were either retired, transitioning from other sports, or not at their peak. Davis, on the other hand, represents elite speed, knockout precision, and years of top-tier professional experience. Rogan wonders whether business success can shield Jake from the harsh reality inside a ring where no cameras or followers can take punches for him. He respects Jake's courage, but thinks this matchup finally forces him to face a competitor who is young, dangerous, and far from worn out.
Guys under 10 fights, like, what if Jake Paul knocks one of them out? Like, what if you get a guy that like hasn't been tested and maybe has some promise and maybe gets wrapped up in the hype and maybe gets a little nervous and this is his first chance at a big show and Jake Paul can crack.
Yeah.
100%. That knockout of Tyron Woodley is legit as fuck. He can crack.
But Eddie's point in that interview, and I think the point that just about every boxing aficionado would say is that Tyrone
Showbiz, the adult, gave a perspective that dives deeper into Tank's mindset. Even if the fight has an exhibition label floating around, the embarrassment potential is real. A boxer at Tank's level has spent his life building a reputation meant to reflect dominance and professionalism. Getting knocked out by someone who began through online content would invite mocking headlines and questions about his legacy. Showbiz notes that Tank's draw with Lamont Roach already created noise from critics who love to twist narratives. So he is training as if everything is on the line because in the public's eyes it is. For Tank, losing would be catastrophic. Not physically, but reputationally. He knows he must deliver a statement that leaves no room for jokes or doubt. This pressure fuels his focus and drives him to prepare with full intensity, refusing to treat Jake like a novelty act. You could call it a fake fight, but it has real consequences.
You call it a fake fight, but it has real consequences. Let him get knocked out by Jake. Let him get embarrassed by Jake. He can't come back. He'll be made a mockery of. He done took a knee, grease in the eye, had a draw with Roach, which everybody thinks Roach was robbed, and then made a mockery of by Jake Paul, a YouTuber. Which is why Gervonta Tank Davis is on Demon Time. See, me being back on my fitness journey, I know how hard that is, especially at his size with how heavy that medicine ball is. Gervonta Tank Davis is going to go hard, pause, on that Jake Paul fight. He has to. While everybody is trying to dismiss that shit, there's a knockout bonus and everything. You got Lamont Roach calling him all these names. Tank Davis shut off his social media. He can't take y'all negativity, making him worse before the fight. He can't allow y'all to be in his head, which that's what y'all want to do. The end of Tank. And I don't. I think boxing is better with Tank involved. I always say that. If there is boxing, boxing is even better when there's more talented and skillful.
Bruce Carrington emphasizes that fights like Jake Paul versus Gervonta Davis and other celebrity professional crossovers are giving boxing new oxygen. Traditional matchups sometimes fail to capture a global audience, but these high-profile events bring casual viewers, young fans, and entire social media communities into the sport. Carrington believes that boxing right now needs excitement beyond regular belts and rankings. It needs matchups that spark conversation and create moments. He argues that no matter where fans stand on legitimacy debates, these events push boxing into headlines.
Saying, like, granted, it's entertainment, right? But this what this is sports entertainment. This is what's gonna put butts in the seat, believe it or not. This is what's gonna, bring a lot of money to the sport. Especially, we have, like, people trying to say boxing is dead, boxing is dying. But, we have a whole demographic of people that don't even watch boxing, interested in boxing. So I like to look at it that way. Like, we're making these fantasy dream matchups come to life with Floyd and Tyson, And to be honest, I'm a little biased because Floyd, he is my favorite fighter of all time. And Tyson, he is a guy that basically, like, made me fall in love with boxing. And he's like the icon, the myth, the legend for me. So it was like them two fighting. It's like, yo, that's crazy. Like, you know what I'm saying? So, like, and then on top of that, it's an exhibition, bro. It's not something to be taken serious. It's something that is for the people to just enjoy and watch. It's an exhibition. It's not like they're making it a sanctioned fight. Now, Jake and Tank, are they making that a sanctioned fight? I think they are.
They're trying to. It's a lot of moving parts right now with that.
Yeah, so I think that's where certain things become an issue because now you're putting it into a serious space. You know what I'm saying? Which it shouldn't be. It's honestly, if it's sanctioned, how the heck they gonna, I don't know, bro. I don't know how the heck they gonna like really pull that off, but I guess I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, it's kind of certain things, you got to question, but at the end of the day, it is putting more eyes on the game. It's keeping the sport alive. And yeah, like I feel like Jake, his vision, his views, it's kind of bringing like eye openings. It's kind of opening people's eyes. It's funny because I genuinely don't believe.
There have been concerns around Gervonta's mental and emotional stress leading into this fight. Legal issues, courtroom distractions, and public criticism have added weight to his shoulders. He has openly expressed his desire for bigger legacy fights like a clash with Vasyl Lomachenko, a battle that pushes greatness rather than controversy. When he fought Lamont Roach, he didn't feel mentally aligned with the moment. Analysts believe unresolved frustrations and the spotlight on his legal situation may strain him as he prepares for Jake Paul. However, some say this pressure could strengthen his motivation. Tank is determined to remind everyone that despite headlines and setbacks, he is still one of the most dangerous fighters in the world. The focus now becomes whether he channels stress into performance or lets distractions chip away at.
When in the lead-in to the Gervonta Davis-Lamont Roach fight, Gervonta was not actually even interested in fighting Lamont Roach. He was trying to fight Vasily Lomachenko. And Vasily Lomachenko was the guy that was going to really kind of propel him. It was the big fight that he wanted to get. But unfortunately for him, Vasily Lomachenko decided to retire instead of fighting him. So all of the time that it went into negotiating that fight with Vasily Lomachenko, where he really thought that he was going to get, that marquee fight with a fighter, in that division, it goes away, right? So what does he do? He then has to try to make a fight with somebody else. And that somebody else was Lamont Roach, somebody that he knew, somebody that was from the same area that he is, and somebody pretty much he was doing that the PBC was doing a solid for and saying, okay, man, we really don't have an opponent, but this guy has a 130-pound title. He just beat Hector Garcia, the same guy that we beat. So boom, let's make the fight. However, that fight was originally supposed to be in Houston, and it had all kind of problems with the venue, moving the venue from here to there. It was supposed to be on one date, then it gets moved to the next date, right? And so basically it gets delayed and delayed and delayed. He also has issues with a judge over a hit and run case, and he's not allowed to leave Florida. She cites him and drags him into court because he went to DC, or he went somewhere without permission. So now he has another threat over his head about going to jail. Just a lot of stuff on the top of that young man's head in the lead into that.
Gervonta's skills and career choices, yet instantly saying yes when offered a paid sparring opportunity with Jake Paul. Analysts call it hypocritical behavior, speaking negatively about Tank's status, but still benefiting indirectly from his name through this fight. They point out that Stevenson, who has insisted Tank isn't as technical as advertised, seems eager to profit from the hype surrounding him. Sparring with Jake, while previously dismissing the matchup altogether, raises questions about his true stance. Critics believe it shows how money and exposure can shift opinions overnight. The storyline around Stevenson now includes distrust from fans who expected him to stand firm in his principles instead of switching sides when involved financially.
Main eventer to an undercard fighter, and then now, worse than an undercard fighter, you're being brought in for sparring, and you're like, ooh, I get to pick Jake Paul's brain, and you like happy about being a sparring partner. For me, that wouldn't be kosher. If I was Shakur, and I am who I say I am, I would be trying to build my brand as big as possible, right? Like if you want to be a big actor, you're going to get to a point where you got to start starring in the movies. You can't just keep doing cameos and showing up for 5 seconds in a movie. You'll never get to Tom Cruise, Brad Pitt, Will Smith, Denzel Washington. You'll never, if you're not a leading man, you'll never get to where they've been, Leonardo DiCaprio. They don't trust you with the whole movie, right? So for me, if my goal as an actor was to be a leading man and to be the top build, you got to start working towards that. And if you keep doing favors and other people's projects where you do these little bit roles and extra, you're an extra in somebody else's movie, I feel like that's a conflict of interest because it's not really going to get you towards your end goal. So that's what I'm looking at, Shakur. The branding stinks. You're literally Jake Paul's sparring partner right now just because you don't like Tank. So like I said in the last video, the branding sucks.
Not Tank. It's going to actually bump up Tank. Yeah, these actions, hey, people going to be supporting Tank on these type of actions. You guys got to look at the big picture, man. Years ago, man, I had a chance to spar, you know what I'm saying? Ricky had...
Discussions have spread across boxing media about the unexpected partnership between Jake and Shocker. Many find it strange because Stevenson had consistently criticized Jake's career path and his opponents. Analysts are comparing this situation to when Jiren Ennis helped Canelo train for Terence Crawford, suggesting that certain fighters may compromise personal viewpoints if the payout or exposure is attractive enough. This connection looks more like business than loyalty or sporting values. Some think Jake clearly understands that attaching a recognized world-class boxer to his camp elevates his credibility, while Stevenson receives compensation and public attention, but fans question whether this move shows sincerity or opportunism. It highlights how the lines between competitive pride and financial.
Stevenson reached out to Jake Paul in support of him preparing for Gervonta Davis. Help me understand, what is the difference between Boots Ennis reaching out to Canelo Alvarez in support of his preparation for Terence Crawford versus Shakur Stevenson reaching out to Jake Paul in preparation for his fight with Gervonta Davis? Tell me, what is the difference? I'll tell you what the difference is. The Ennis family actually had a relationship with Canelo Alvarez. Shakur Stevenson has no relationship with Jake Paul. None. We heard, oh, Boots is a sparring partner. How much you got paid for that? So now, isn't that also applicable to Shakur Stevenson? Is he not also a sellout? I don't want to hear anything about this fight. It's against a YouTuber, it doesn't matter. No, Shakur Stevenson is an elite level fighter that is going to be a sparring partner to a YouTuber, and he reached out to him directly to...
Paulie Malignaggi has given insight into the fight's location. Seeing Florida as a key part of a promotional blueprint, a high-energy entertainment environment, and a strong celebrity presence make the state an ideal place to amplify media coverage. Malignaggi believes that if Tank secures a spectacular win against someone with huge online influence, his fame could explode beyond the boxing world. A knockout victory in front of such a wide demographic would turn him from a hardcore fight fan favorite into an American household name. For Tank, this event represents a business,